What is up, guys? By Muffin here, and we are back with some more Trails Through Daybreak. Last time, we rescued Quattro from the mines, and then we went on a little race car adventure. So now we are going to be heading up to the Institute since our cards got upgraded. I went too high. Your car would let you ride the that said. I want to ride the Aerotram. I agree with Miss Alpha. It does look fun. Yeah, you could walk there if you wanted the exercise. Okay. We just had to go around here. Alright, let's take our way to the Institute. Basel.
Ma, 悪くねえな。
ま、この町ならではだしな。設計はハミルトン博士だったか。
よくご存知ですね。
Quattro's surprised Van knows that much.
リゼットさん？ああ、いえ。話だけは聞いていたもので、本当に自分の目で見るとやはり格別なものがありますね。
Odd way of putting it.
そうですね。私も本が好きなので気持ちはわかります。
Van and Quattro have some puzzled looks on their faces. By the way, Reset just worded it. What? What do you mean 4 p.m.? Didn't we get here at 1? How did we do all of what we just did in 3 hours? Here we are at the Basel Institute of Science, the place where much of the Republic's most cutting-edge research gets done. It's situated in such a beautiful location, too. The views of the canyon from here are just stunning. Yeah, this area is supposed to be popular with tourists for exactly that reason. Though, even they need a card right now. This isn't that bad of a spot to sightsee, I guess. But there's really no place to live it up in town. Oh, speaking of tourism. What's that rounded building over there? I've been wondering this whole time. That's the Astronomy Observatory. By the way, Aaron finally mentioning that is what I was expecting, because there's no, like, party areas, yeah. At most, I would say, like, maybe the inn. You go there to have a drink or something. That's a place where you look at the stars, right? That's right. There's a very powerful telescope there that lets you see far more of them than you could with the naked eye. There are many who believe that astronomy is the discipline from which all others draw their roots, even if others disagree. It actually originated in the Central East, if you didn't know. Whoa, really? Pretty sure they were big on stargazing in that fallen empire to the east way back in the day, too. This is turning out to be very educational. Huh. Ahem, so where would you like to start? I'd be happy to show you around if you want. Nah, it's fine. We were just going to wander around for a while and see what we find. If you can tell us where the main facilities and research labs are, that'd be plenty. Well, if you're sure. They're marked on the building's map already, but here you go. Well then, I've got work of my own to take care of, so I'll get going for now. If anything else comes up, you're always welcome to contact me on my Ziffa. Thanks. I just gave him all those really powerful quartz. Come back! Well, I was hoping we could stay with him longer. He knows so many cool things. I feel the same way, but it would be difficult. Yeah, he's just gonna get in the way when we start poking our noses around in dark places. I doubt we're gonna get any new 04 SPGs here, but here's hoping we can learn more about this abusive professor, wherever they are. Let's get to work. Remember to act casual and not make it obvious what we're here for. Understood. Kind of an interesting way of wording it. Well, we're stuck up here for now.
"少年から聞いた場所を中心に回ってみるさ."
Oh. I'm a civil engineering major studying under Professor Tane. My family's over in the capital. It's a bit of a trip, but visiting them is a great excuse to do some field study. I haven't been back here in a while. It's a lot tenser than I remember it being. Something just doesn't feel right. She's a student here, huh? We should try talking to her.
聞かせてもらうぜ。
A professor abusing their authority, you say? That's a bit of a stretch to me, not gonna lie. I can say for certain Professor Cronkite and Professor Tane would never do that. It can't be them. Oh, what makes you so sure of that? Well, so Professor Cronkite's a man of few words, so he can come across as kind of scary. But he means well, really. I mean, he's one of the greatest minds of our time. He lives and breathes science. And then Professor Tane is just really friendly to everybody. He's always looking out for people. He's known the world over for his work in civil engineering and urban planning. The Basel Institute of Science certainly earns its reputation. Its faculty are all accomplished scientists and engineers in their own right. Yup, lots of famous people come to study and lecture here. Professor Callaghan's a real celebrity too. He's a real whiz when it comes to mechanical engineering. He's the brain behind the military's new weapons. Last I heard, though, his new big proposal got shot down in favor of someone else's. He didn't really take that very well. But he's bounced back from what I can tell. He's really putting his all into his new project. I'm really humbled to get to work with so many hardworking and talented people. Hardworking and talented people can still be assholes. Are they good people is what we're asking. Could you maybe have phrased that a little less aggressively? Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. You're a big help. Yeah, Aaron is always being a little bit more aggressive. God, it really is a science institute. There is nothing appealing about these hallways. They are as bland can be. I guess this is a cafeteria then? Why is this guy just standing here holding a taco in midair? Bro, have you heard of a plate? Bro, it's so weird. Why is he just eating a taco in the middle of the room like this? Okay, you're looking at the menu. Cool. I still find it... Even the cafeteria is so bland looking. I mean, I guess it's just like so you have a quick bite to eat and then you leave, but... I work as an assistant in Professor Archet's lab over there. I've noticed some troubling things coming out of the other labs, though. This one woman, she's looked absolutely drained every day. I wish there was something I could do to help her, but I really shouldn't go butting into other labs' business. I just hope she has someone she can talk to, be it a coworker, a professor, or someone else. That's a bit fishy there. Might have to ask her about that.
ちょっといいか?
Workplace harassment? Goodness. I've heard these bits and pieces, but I'm just a bit nervous to talk about it. We won't tell anyone, don't worry. Anything helps. I've heard loud shouting from one of the other labs, yes. It stunned me out of the work I was doing. I heard stuff like, you idiots, can't you do anything right, and you're a disgrace to the Institute, get out. He's just lashing out at everything and everyone now, it's really disturbing. Which professor was the one doing that? I just can't say it, sorry. If they found out it was me, I'd have hell to pay. It's really gnawing at me, the abuse only getting worse and worse from what I'm told. I've heard the works, fatigue, depression, exhaustion, even a couple researchers fainting on the job. That whole department looks visibly shaken these days. The stress is just too much for them. I worry they'll all end up like Cindy. Cindy? What happened to her? She's at her breaking point from what I hear. I hardly see her at the Institute anymore. We've all been trying to support her however we can, but it's rough, it really is. Damn, yeah, that's not good. Who's the professor helping her, out of curiosity? That would be Professor Esmere. She's in the bioengineering department. She's known the world over for her cutting-edge research, a real upstanding woman. She's always up to her neck in her own work, though. She probably doesn't know the extent of the abuse at the other labs. Yeah, thanks for filling us in. This still helps us a lot. Yeah, well... we know who the one that was yelling. Well, I mean, they haven't stated his name yet, but... how do I get in this room? Or is it on another floor? Oh, hey! Oh, hello, everyone. I didn't think I'd run into you all here. We just finished our touring the Epstein Foundation's ECF branches here. Now we're taking a brief tour of the Institute. There's really not much we can do, though, since we can't attend any of the lectures here. Being honest, it's rather boring. Boring for you, maybe. You sound like you already know a lot of the stuff here. We're not as encyclopedic as you know. All this Epstein and ZCF stuff is brand new to me. She's just full of secrets, isn't she? But hey, we got to see and learn some really cool stuff because of it. Ren said she might have something extra special for us after we're done here, too. Might is the key word, mind. I can't make any promises. What does she mean by that? Beats me. I'm not too worried about her. Let her do her thing and let us do ours. It's gotta be on the second floor, then. What's this kid up to? Lucas, are you a student? I would assume not dressed like that. That door opened, I didn't even touch it. Oh, is this like a library? I called it one. Oh, okay. If you need anything from me, I'll just be reading here. We do plenty of papers here, though I don't know enough about them to make any recommendations. Do handle them with care, though. They're very important papers. Sounds plenty of students' faculty coming his way. That tracks. Maybe he's overheard a word or two about the allegations.
ちょっといいか?
Huh? A power-tripping professor, you say? Well, if it were anybody, I'd put my money on Cronkite. He's awfully quick to dismiss people, haughty in a word. Kind and helpful aren't exactly synonymous with him, at least, from what I've seen and heard. I see. Have you heard anything about the other professors that might relate to these allegations? Let me think now. Well, I can't see Professor Ariele doing anything like that. She's just a bundle of sunshine, not a mean bone in her body. Sometimes I even see her in here picking up research materials for her students. Then there's Professor Callaghan. He's always made a point in helping out his assistants. He's certainly not a bad person in my view, but he's gotten a bit of a bad rep after his work went south. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. We greatly appreciate it. It's really leaning towards this Callaghan guy, which is probably the guy we saw in the beginning. I think we've combed this area over pretty well now. Let's go sit down somewhere and try piecing things together. I recommend that open space in front of the Institute grounds. I saw some benches there we could use. Sounds like a plan to me. It's amazing Aaron hasn't been kicked out of the Institute yet with how he talks. I feel like a lot of the students and professors here probably wouldn't appreciate how he talks. I know I'm not going the right way. I'm just seeing how... That's the observatory. Although I suppose not every student has to be dressed like a student at all times, like these two. They probably work here at the Institute. But then you got this lady who's obviously everyone in lab coats. See ya, kiddos. Oh, what? You okay, bud? Haha, success! That was a super quick reaction there. Way quicker than I expected. That bodes well. It means it's even more flammable than I first thought. I got a winner on my hands. Just gonna take a swig of my special juice to recharge. I'll be right back in action. Vial of something from his coat. Down in one go. Woo, yeah, I can feel myself supercharging. Hey, what do you look at me like that for? Controlled substance? No worries there. Can't be controlled if it's not for human consumption in the first place. I'm on to something with this, I swear. It's the perfect pick-me-up after my explosion test. It was meant to be, I tell you. Okay. Might need to have a chaperone on that student. Well, alright, we were out ready to sit down and get cracking. That was pretty good. Got our hands on some nice info there. We learned a lot of professors' names, too. There's Professor Callaghan, the Engineering Science Authority. Professor Ariele, the Chemistry Department. Professor Cronkite, a well-respected expert in physics and orbital engineering. And Professor Tane, an architectural researcher. And then Professor Esmere over in Bio. They all sound like really capable, of course, but the stat sheets don't tell the whole story. They all sound like oddballs in their own right. I think we can pretty safely narrow down the perp to one of those 5. I agree, we have a pretty strong evidence to suggest that. Alright, let's take our evidence from the top then. All the people we talked to, all the testimonies, they had one thing in common. Oh, I see what you mean. Wait. All the people talked to, all the testimonies had one thing in common. They didn't name the abuser. Not a single one named the culprit. Some of the guys knew who it was, but it kept sounding like they were too scared to name him. Would have made our job a hell of a lot easier if they just named the guy, but nope. Yeah, now you mention it, it's kind of weird. I can understand not wanting to be labeled as a snitch, but it felt like there was more to it than that. They were afraid of the culprit. You could tell they respected them too. They didn't want to sully this professor's good name. And some people said the guy wasn't always like that. Something changed them. Probably the conflict over the proposal we heard about. Something about hard feelings. That one guy said they had to crunch after the proposal fell through. Telltale sign of abuse to me. That does seem likely, though we can't say for certain what changed the professor's behavior. That would be a reasonable explanation. That said, no circumstance justifies the abuse of power and status. This professor is truly incorrigible. So that's who you think the culprit is? Yeah, you asked me there's only one professor who fits the bill. Callaghan. Professor Callaghan's our guy. He's one of the most foremost authorities on engineering science, perhaps the smartest man in the whole field. I've seen him in the papers plenty of times before. He's always described as a savant. Notably, he helped modernize the military's weapons and equipment. But he's got revenge on the mind, sounds like. Some other professor one-upped him. That's gotten pissed. I get it sucks, but you think a world-renowned scientist would be less childish about it. You'd know a thing or two about acting like a child, wouldn't you? I don't know. You usually call me Grandpa. Which is it, bud? Is now the time. So what do we do now? We have all the recordings of the people we talked to. That all points to Professor Callaghan being the suspect. So what's our next move? Do we hunt down our client next and give him the tapes? Nah, I'm thinking we get Professor Callaghan's opinion on it without accusing him directly. We nudge him in the right direction, he might turn himself in. What do you mean? Simple, we tell him about the abuse rumors going around. We talk about all the exhausted students, and he connects the dots on his own. Failing that, we already know it's him. He's bound to figure out his reputation's on the line the more he hears about us. If he's smart, he'll fess up. So that's what we do. Give him the sub a little nudge, and he does all the work Elsheim wanted for us. 2 birds with 1 stone right there. That sounds really scheming. I'm not so sure we're the good guys all of a sudden. Well, it is quintessentially Spriggan-like way of solving our problem. Fine by me. To the Power Trippers lab, then? Actually, where is it? I don't remember seeing it on the way taking our tour. I suspect it's in the Special Research Building. We need some sort of clearance center, of course. We passed by a door with a guard in front of it earlier. They won't let ordinary civilian inside. I suspect we need an A-rank card at the very least. It was hard enough for us to get a C-rank card. I think getting an A-rank one is off the table. What should we do then? Maybe wait for him to leave the building and ambush him? Nah, old Van's a man with a plan. All that matters is that we get inside the building. Doesn't matter how we do it. And being a Spriggan, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. Van, you're kind of scaring me with that smile there. We defer to you then. What's your strategy, Master Spriggan? So first, we roll up on the building like anybody else would. Once we get there, we convince the guard to let us in. Just act naturally, and we're golden. Okay, that's not very... That's not a plan. How are we gonna get him to let us in? Well, guess we're gonna find out here in a second. Let's roll up to the door. Is this guy smoking indoors? Hey, Mr. Guardman, look at this. Excuse me, is this where we can find Professor Callaghan? We're here to speak with him. Right, yes, may I see your card, sir? Of course. Van hand over his certification card. C rank, I'm sorry, but I can't let you in without the proper security clearance. If you don't mind me asking, what business do you have with him to begin with? Glad you asked. We're here on behalf of the Principality of Elsheim. We figured this was an opportunity for us, but we now just found out they didn't set anything up. Sorry for the inconvenience. We wanted to inquire about Professor Callaghan's new research. It's caught our investors' interest. His findings have seismic implications. Even the Ziffa revolution would be small potatoes compared to this. So we looked into meeting with him and collaborating on his research. Only to learn that Marduk was interested in the same thing. So now we got ourselves a three-way partnership here. I am here on the Marduk Company's behalf. I am a concierge in their employ. So you're meeting him to discuss a grant, is that right? I'm a bit surprised here both Elsheim and Marduk are collaborating on this, but well, stranger things have happened, I guess. I apologize for the inconvenience. That said, who are these children with you? Surely they're not employees. Pardon? I'm not a kid, I'm just short. Ahem, they're associates of the Elsheim VIP, pardon them. They're here on Elsheim's behalf as well, so they were looking to sit on the meeting. It's a little awkward though, we came all the way from Elsheim just to get turned away at the door on a technicality. I'm not sure what to tell them when we get back home. I really am sorry, there's clearly been some kind of mix-up here. Your arrangement might have been lost in the shuffle with all the Aramis students visiting. You must have been issued the same rank card as them by mistake. I'll go clear this up with Professor Callaghan. 1 minute, please. Of course, we'll be waiting. You sure it's okay with him calling your bluff? Of course. Who's he to turn down grant money? That ain't what we're really here for, but he just has to take the bait. Thank you for your patience. The professor would like to meet with you at once. Go right in. Thank you very much. I can't believe you managed to deceive your way past someone again. Ain't that that's the name of the game? Hey, nothing I said was a lie. Not my fault if someone else takes what I said the wrong way. Bet you tell yourself that every time, huh? Yeah, you must be a real pro at this. I mean, it's not something to be proud of. As your sudden embarrassment suggests, I wish you would at least stop to think about the bad influence you might have on Fairy. Oh boy.
いいえ、先生の最新研究が原因だとは言っていません。それに先生の今回のアプローチは個人的にもなかなか興味深くはある。ほう。ですが、こちらのプロジェクトもそろそろ佳境に入っていましてね。
So that's obviously the angry guy over there.
動力網はともかく、ネットトラフィックのトラブルだけは勘弁していただきたい。
だからそれが私の生徒でも言うのかね。博士の門下だからといってこれ以上の無礼は。
So sorry for the delay. Oh. Who the devil are you? This is a restricted area, you know. Not to worry, we have permission to be here. Could either of you direct us to Professor David Callaghan's office? Ah, so you're the ones I just heard about. We're finished here, Cronkite. Now, if you would all follow me. Yang, Professor Cronkite and Callaghan. Huh? Funny running into you guys here. Whoops. Be could say the same thing. Mr. Arkwright, do you have business here? Quattro. What are you doing here, Silesian, and who are these people with you? These are students here on an educational visitation from the capital. I've just been assisting them during their stay. Professor Cronkite was gracious enough to extend us an invitation to visit him after we happened to see each other in town. So we asked Mr. Silesian if he could lead the way. I do not believe I invited anyone but you, nor did I imply we should meet quite this soon. But I suppose chasing you away here would be more work than just humoring you. Very well, follow me. Really? It would be nothing short of incredible to see your work up close, Professor Cronkite. Well, we'll get out of your hair now. I apologize for the interruption. I can see that you're all very busy, but it would be a pleasure to speak more on another occasion, Professor Callaghan. Oh? I suppose it could be arranged. Must be nice to have enough free time to spend on such frivolous nonsense as educational visitations. Well, come with me. I want to make this brief. Of course, Professor.
待ってください。その話、できれば僕も立ち会わせてもらえませんか？一応彼らを案内した身として無関係ではなさそうなので。
10分休憩にする。遅れずに戻るように。
Yes, Professor. Excuse us. They're all exhausted. Look at them. Not a smile on their faces. Professor David Callaghan.
改めてデビッド・キャラハンだ。エルザイムとマルドック社から投資がしたいという話だったな。背景を考えると興味深い組み合わせだが、どういう風の吹き回しかね。
Is that what you were told? There seems to have been a misunderstanding then. We are currently working for Alzheim, and we do have a Marduk employee with us, but that's all. What? We're currently in the middle of an investigation, you see, and a lead happened to bring us here. Wanted to follow up on a rumor that some extreme abuse of power had been taking place in a laboratory here. Heh, that's the face of a guy who's got something to tell. Who asked you to investigate this? Couldn't tell you, didn't leave their name, but they did tell us about what's been happening. We heard all about the ridiculous workloads and insane hours that their colleagues have been forced to endure, about how they're never allowed any rest and woefully underpaid, how they receive vicious, constant verbal abuse from their superior. Even to the point that someone collapsed from overwork and has been driven to the brink of suicide. That's just... We have all the testimony and evidence we need to act if that's what it comes to. But we thought it better to come hear your thoughts first. Excuse me? It's not too late to turn things around. So many people we spoke to were quick to say that you weren't always like this. They mentioned how they almost had trouble believing just what you've become. We can see how afraid people are of you now, and how they dislike what you've become. But at the same time, we can see how deeply they respect you too. We're not heroes of justice like the cops of the guild. We're just about finding common ground and putting things to right. Long as you're willing to work with us, we can... That is enough. Don't talk to me about respect and then immediately resort to blackmail. I cannot believe one of my assistants would try to set me up like this. Unbelievable. I give them a golden chance to help me obtain glory beyond their imagination. This is how they choose to repay me? How could you say that? You know we've got evidence of what you're doing, right? Sure you want to pick this fight? Do what you will with your evidence. All I have to do is cover it up. No one's gonna believe some lowly assistant's over an esteemed professor. Professor? I am two mere steps away from completing my research. And they pick now to sabotage my efforts? Very well. Then damn the human cost. I'll start working them to the bone to make up for their...
いい加減にしてください、キャラハン先生。一体どうしてしまったんですか？あれだけ面倒見の良かったあなたが 博士も一目置いていたあなたが
I think we're kind of glad we brought him with us.
ハミルトン門下である僕にも昔はいろいろと指南してくれてなのに最近は博士の功績を否定するようなことばかり
Quattro, I suspected as much.
いえそれはいいあくまで先生と僕たちの問題でしょうでもせめて考え直してくださいあなたに憧れて助手となった皆さんをどうか貶めないであげてください
What a good boy. A good kid.
サリシオン君調子に乗るんじゃないでちこそが
How dare you? Quattro, what do you think you're doing? Listen, asshole.
私はデビッド・キャラハンだぞカルバードの国防を支えてきた物理工学と軍事技術の第一人者だ
Even Aaron was getting ready to step up.
クロンカイトといいエース命令といい若造どもがいい気になるのもこれまでだ私の最新研究は共和国をさらに押し上げいや大陸の勢力図すら一変させるそれが手伝える栄誉がなぜわからない
先生
Well, you're free to have whatever lofty goals you want. But I think we've had our 10 minutes, don't you? Oh. We came here to explain the situation, offer a solution we thought would benefit everyone. You're welcome to try and cover up all the evidence and testimonies we've gathered, but I promise you it ain't gonna be easy. If you're as close to this revolution as you claim to be, then I'd give it another thinking through if I were you. I am done wasting my time with you. I'll be raising the issue of your illegal trespassing and appalling brazenness with Mr. Townsend. I admit I may have been a little too harsh, but as long as you intend to cling to Professor Hamilton instead of aiming for something more, I have no interest in you. Unless you now see the benefits of developing your talents under me after all. I would wager it'd be a far better use of your time than waiting like a little girl for an old woman who's long gone. Excuse me. How dare you? Watcher, pardon us. You don't talk to our new party member like that.
Nemeshkuか
ここだったか。へえ、中はこうなってたのかよ。
これが天文台。あれが望遠鏡ですか？
うん。博士の特注品でね。
I'm sorry you had to witness that earlier, but I'm impressed you knew where to find me. Just had a feeling. We're happy to forget what we saw as long as you forget us forcing our way into the research building. Van, behave. You can go ahead and have a seat over there. I'll make us some tea. Lore dump time? So there aren't actually any astronomy professors here? Not at the moment. I'm the only one who comes here every day right now. But there was a time where quite a few researchers and students who all adored Professor Hamilton would come. Even Professor Callaghan would from time to time. Oh. He never used to be like he is now. He's always seen Professor Hamilton as a rival, sure. But it used to be the friendly kind of rivalry that would be beneficial to both sides. He taught me so much, too. He really must have changed then. Yeah, from that to an uptight, abusive asshole we saw earlier's some kind of fall. Professor Hamilton left the Republic 2 years ago, if I recall. And you're one of her students? That's right. I owe more to her than I can ever hope to repay. I've been looking after the observatory and her house since she left the country. Though, I think it's debatable whether I'm doing a good job of it. The CEO of Verne, Mr. Townsend, is also one of the directors on the Institute's board. And he told me he's considering shutting this place down because so few people are using it. Oh no. So that's why you've been doing all kinds of miscellaneous tasks to score points with him? That's awful. I really am sorry about earlier, though. I ended up interfering in your investigation by jumping in, didn't I? If I hadn't said anything, don't sweat it. We ended up getting some useful info out of that whole outburst. My guess is you've noticed this by now, too. But his piss-poor attitude isn't the only bad thing going on with him. You really think so? I have the same feeling. It would explain why someone so respected is stooped to such irrational behavior. Feels like the question is, what is he trying to do that he's willing to go so far off the deep end for it? The computer hardware in his laboratory was state-of-the-art. I suspect he's using it to perform vast calculations. The kind that would be equally difficult to properly manage. I agree. I've never seen a simulation of this extent before, and it seemed even that wasn't getting the results he wanted. He couldn't be, no, but that would... I see now. Well, we'd better keep an eye on that guy for a while. We ain't in Basel for that long, but we're gonna be here the next couple of days at least. Feels like we can afford to scratch each other's backs a bit, yeah? Whether that CEO wants us to or not. Alright, I do have my doubts about you, but I believe Agnes is worthy of my trust. So if anything comes up, I'll be sure to let you know. To keep what the professor left behind safe, if nothing else. Nothing comes from being honest with yourself, you know. We'll be counting on you, Quattro. Sure seems like he's being honest with himself to me. Not trusting you is the right call. Oh, you are very much in the same boat with how boorish you are. Excuse me, trying to pick a fight, kiddo? That's only proving my point, you know. Are you interested in the telescope? I was wondering what it's like, that's all. It's only just past 5 o'clock. We won't be getting a great view of the stars quite yet. But come with me, you might still be able to get a good view of the Great Cheddar Triangle. Really? Yay! Aw. Of course, the two kids of the group would hit it off. You're also still a damn kid from my perspective. By the way, Agnes, was it just me or did you seem surprised by something when the professor was shouting up a storm? It wasn't just you. I cannot believe one of my assistants would try to set me up like this. Unbelievable. I give them a golden chance to help me to obtain glory beyond their imagination. This is how they choose to repay me? Oh, so it glowed. So it picked then of all times to shine. It's not doing it now, though. Do you think it could be a coincidence? You gotta wonder. Not like it'd be the first time it's shown at an odd time. Like when we first ran into Grimcat.
何ここオデットみんなもあ、いたいた探したよアニエスバンさんたちも本当で見つからなかったからここじゃないかと思ってね
そりゃわざわざご苦労さんだ
別にあんたに会いに来たわけじゃないけどな
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up.
これが噂の大望遠鏡帝国博物館でも見ましたけど
Yeah, Toa also had one from her, was it her grandfather or great-grandfather?
ひょっとして私たちも見れちゃったり
久しぶりだな。ここがこんなに賑やかなのは。
Well, it seems like a lot's going on. Well, it's about time. Agnes has about 20 minutes to get back to the hotel with them. Seems like all three of them, or maybe just Ren and Van had something on their mind. Obviously, Reset's deep in thought about something. Well, we'll be going back to our hotel now. Sure thing, try not to stay up too late just because no one's keeping an eye on you. That telescope was amazing though, wasn't it? I wish we could have had another look for it before we left. How about you come and walk around with us on the last day, Fairy? We'd love to have you. Really? Your work sounds amazing, so I'd like that a lot. I'll just leave playtime to the kids then. I'm more in the market for a place catered to adults. Hell, you want to join in on the fun Four Eyes? I would never want to go to such a place. Haha, that sounds like it'd be kind of fun in its own way. It was nice to finally meet the famous Reset too. Maybe we could talk to some another... Oh yes, I would like that very much indeed. Yay, then it's happening. Yeah, she's deep in thought. Did you notice? Yeah, you managed to learn anything on your end? I'm afraid not. We heard something interesting from the genius professor, but that's about it. I'm not gonna have much free time here, however, so I'm gonna have to leave it up to that nose of yours this time. Dumping all the work on me, huh? Great. Ah, here's the tram. We bid you all farewell. I should be able to meet you tomorrow morning at around 8 o'clock. I know it's a little early for good nights, but I hope you all have one regardless. Same to you. See you tomorrow. Sleep tight. Well, now it's just the four of us for a bit. So, what's eating away at you, phony maid? Something up? Can't hide a thing from him.
やはり隠し事はできませんね。実は今回のこの状況、どこか心当たりがありまして。
Deja vu? Your main job's being a concierge, but you also manage crisis management all over the country, right? So which does this Orbital Net and distribution network issue make you think of more? Libero 6 years ago or Crossbell 4 years ago?
さすがはバン様。
I'm sure I've heard of both things before, but yeah, I think Sal's mentioned them at some point too. The former was when all orbital power was shut down by the appearance of an ancient floating city. See, I love that he knows all of this. The latter was when the orbital network was used to perform a man-made miracle. Yep, with Kia. I never witnessed them firsthand, so there's a lot of gaps in what I know. But both were caused by things you wouldn't think could exist. Man, I think you made both events up if I didn't know better. I know what happened a year and a half ago in Crossbell, and that's just batshit crazy on paper. Oh, when the whole continent was hacked or whatever the word is?
本社の機密情報に当たるため、詳細は差し控えさせてください。ですが、その2件とはまた違った意味で、想定外の危機につながるかもしれません。
Huh. Well, Miss Perfect's Genesis started glowing again. That's bound to be something. No way this ends without giving us a headache. Yeah, we're gonna need to be ready for trouble. You gotta head somewhere right now? I'll come with you if you want.
本当にお見通しですね。
We might have only met in person recently, but I've known you for a real long time now. Whenever you stumble on major problems brewing, you gotta report it to HQ, right?
本件は高度 E に抵触。ですが、同行者の制限はありません。巡回ついでにご一緒していただいても。
More than alright, let's get going. Wait, it's not just you two here, you know. Don't even think of leaving us out. I don't mind taking one of you, but the others gotta have to stay behind. Someone will need to be available if Agnes or the boy we met decide to call. Right, that makes sense. Fine, then come on, who are you taking? Sorry, Fairy. So, where do we have to go to give this report? Your company's HQ is so far away, I would have thought you'd just call them. There's a bit of a process involved for security reasons. For starters, we need to leave the city towards the canyon. This needn't take priority over other work you'd like to do, however. I see now. Got it. We'll head over once we walked around a little then. Oh, so we actually do have some side stuff. Alright, well, we'll save that all for next time. So we brought the first day to a close. Now we are at the nighttime of day 1. So we still have 2 more days here to figure out what's really going on. Obviously, Professor Callaghan is the reason for all the abuse, and he pretty much owned up to it. But we still don't know why Agnes's Genesis was glowing. Obviously, it probably means that another Genesis, or even Almata themselves, are somewhere within the city pulling some kind of string. So, for now, we'll just worry about what we have to do here at night, which just seems to be, School of Hard Knocks. Oh! This might just be the, turning in the request. So, yeah, this might just be that. Alright, well, we'll figure that out next time. So, that's gonna be it, guys. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe more if you're new to the channel. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day, everyone.